Hello YouTube, it's Carlos the Rook, and I'm bringing you round 3, the final and last game, and I played in Chess Zone Generations. This was the tournament where the adults were separated from the kids. And Marvin Banks is who I played in this round, and he was the highest rated at the facility that day at 1849, and I'm rated 1717, so we're facing off. Okay, so I start the game off with my usual e4. He responds with d6. So I'm like, what am I playing? Is this a rat defense or is it going to be a Pierce? I go d4, knight f6. And here, I had a lot of people online or unorthodox who play a double fine kettle. So that's what I was expecting. I think that's called a hippo defense. So normally I go c4, knight c3, knight f3, put my bishops on d3 and e3, and then depending on which way they castle, I launch an attack and castle opposite. So here I play bishop d3, g6, and I go knight e2. And my idea here is if he castles kingside, I want to go f3, h4, and start my attack. So he goes bishop g7. So I bring my knight to c3, c6, and I go f3 here. And the reason I go f3 is I want to go bishop e3, but f3 stops the knight from harassing my bishop on e3. So knight g4 can harass the bishop. So I go f3 first. And now he castles. So the knight to e2 and the bishop to d3 was stalling moves to see which way Marvin castles. So I go bishop e3. He brings his knight on d7, developing, queen d2. And now my idea is to cross castle, bishop h6, h4, h5. And he go e5, striking in the center immediately. So here, the engine wants a4. Gaining space on the queen side. I guess the engine wants to castle king side. But instead, I played bishop h6. And that's an error. Stockfish says it's a mistake. It puts black ahead 1.77. And the reason why he castles, he captures. And my idea first was to capture on g7, but I'm like, if I do that, he capture on c3. My queen be forced to capture, and it's off that diagonal. And here, the move we both missed was knight captures e4. And if knight captures e4, queen h4 check, picking up the bishop. So we both missed that move. So that means bishop h6 was a losing move. Knight captures d4. And he went knight e5. He missed the tactic. So I capture. He captured back. And that gives me what I want. Now I cross castle. And my idea is h4, f4, h5. And here he hits me with c5. That's a very good move. Now I had to think. If I go knight b3, c4, and he forking my bishop and knight. If I go knight b5, then there's a6, which compels me to go knight a3, and then there's b5. And I'll just show you. And now he's rolling down my queen side. And my attack hasn't even started. So I really, 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 really didn't like that. And Stockfish is saying here that knight d5 is the move. So I didn't like that. So instead, I went knight to e2, which allows c4. And it looks like I'm down a piece, but I have a strong counter, f4. Now the knight comes to g4. And I capture on c4. So I'm giving up the exchange, a rook for a knight and a pawn, and the initiative. Because black gonna have to withstand an attack. So the knight comes in, and here I go e5. And my idea is he can't take here because I take twice on d8. Well, hold on. F captures e5. And say white is clearly winning. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Because I'm just in it. I'm only up a pawn, but I'm deep inside this house with the initiative. It's saying knight g4 here. And the engine wants e6. Bishop captures e6. Ooh. Rook captures a8. Hold on, is there a way to keep from losing? Bishop captures c4. Rook captures a7. And that's why he couldn't have taken. He couldn't have taken. Let's go back to this position. So that's why he couldn't take on e5. So hold on here. What is the engine maker? Instead of e5, the engine is actually recommending knight d4. Knight d4. Knight captures h1. Knight on e to c3. Bishop e6. Rook captures h1. Bishop captures d5. Knight captures d5. Rook e8. And although black is up material, as in the exchange, white has the initiative in a strong position. So white is slightly better according to Stockfish. That's interesting. But here I play e5. And Marvin went knight on 6 to g4, which the engine says is a mistake. And I play h3. The knight captures h1. H captures g4 with exclamation. The knight returns to f2. And the engine wants f5 here, and it gives white a 1.64 advantage. f5, giving up the exchange again. How is that even possible? f5. Well, let's see. F5. And it's saying knight captures G4. Why couldn't the knight capture D1? Is it because of F6? King moves back. Queen to H6. Mate in 2. There's no way to stop the mate on G7. So F5. Knight captures G4. F6 check. King to G8. Knight to F4. What does that accomplish? Bishop to F5. Ooh. Knight on F to D5. Now we coming to E7. Now we cooking. Now we cooking. The knight coming to E7. Rook to E8. You're going to get exchange back. E captures D6. Then it wants Rook E5. Let's just go ahead and knight E7. Knight E7, check. King H8. And now it wants Bishop E2. And if that knight falls, the queen is coming here. So that's the threat. Capture there, and queen coming there is the threat. So knight just captures on F6. Queen D4. Rook E6. And then his knight captures F5. She captures F5. D7. And that is just crushing. Look at that. Look at that pawn. One square from a queen. That's just crushing. Now you're thinking Bishop C4. Maybe Knight B5. You got ideas here. White has strong ideas, all centered around the passed pawn, which is just crushing. But I didn't play none of that. I went Rook F1, hitting at the knight. Knight captures G4. And now I just capitalize on my passed pawn. So it's a similar thing that I got in mind, because I see that I got a passed pawn, and even though I'm down in exchange, my pieces are well coordinated, and I'm just trying to push towards where black is. And my idea here is Knight G3 F5 with compensation. So black plays Bishop D7, and here the engine wants Knight D5. And let's look at Knight D5 for a moment. Knight D5, Bishop E6. And then it's Queen D4. And then Knight F6 is just Knight E7. That's a crushing position. It's like you hemming the king in. It's like you hunting. Good Will Hunting. Y'all ever seen that movie Good Will Hunting? It's like Good Will Hunting on this king. Then it's saying Queen D7 is the only move. Wow. Followed by Knight G3. And yeah, I think we're going to have some F5 ideas here. That's a very, very interesting line. But I went Knight G3. And Marvin moved Rook C8. I followed the bishop back to B3. And here you go, Bishop C6. which the engine really didn't like. And I go F5. So I finally get my F5 push. I think the bishop needed to stay on D7 to do some type of combat against F5 ideas. And now he goes H6, which the computer Stockfish really doesn't like this move. And here I contemplated it for a while. I thought Rook H1, Rook F4, Queen D4. I even thought about both knights to E4 with the idea of F6. But I really was unsure of this position and how to go forward. So Stockfish has me at a 3.89 advantage. 3.89 just outright winning if I find the only move, Queen D4. And let's look at Queen D4, a move I considered, but I didn't know how to capitalize off of. So Queen D4, Knight F6, I've seen this. It wants Knight on C to E4. I figured B captures E4, Knight captures E4, and all this I calculated, and I didn't see a way to break through. Like, how do I get to this knight? It's protected. And I'm down in exchange, so I don't just want to trade off pieces. I need a crushing position. And it's saying here, the move is G5. And Stockfish wants Bishop A4. So the idea to go D7, B6, Rook E1, A6, Knight G3, Rook C4. Rook C4? Yeah. Rook C4. Rook C4 is the only move here to not lose immediately. How does Rook C4 work? Hold on, let me think for a second. Rook C4, Queen captures C4. What's the threat? Oh! B5. Bishop captures B5, A captures B5, Queen captures B5, Queen captures D6. So you're giving up the rook and 2 pawns for the bishop and pawn. So you're giving the exchange back. So let me show you that. Rook C4. Oh, shoot. First I'm going to show you this, then I'm going to come back. Queen captures C4. Engine wants Queen captures D6 right away. I thought it wanted this. But they saying just Queen D4. And you good. Then black is compelled to do something like King H7 to break the pin. So I was thinking this, 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 this. You give an exchange back, but you down 2 pawns. And white is still winning with this combination, but it's not as clear. It's not as strong. The other continuation was stronger. Let's go back here. Queen captures C4. It wants Queen captures D6 right away. Instead of the B5, it wants Queen captures D6, just getting rid of. You gave up the exchange back, and you're getting that passed pawn. Then it's just Queen C3, pinning the knight. ugly pressure on that knight. And we thinking knight here. That's the idea. We're putting pressure on the knight. And this bishop's going to come back here and regain pressure down this diagonal. That's just brutal. Also, after rook c4, another idea Stockfish had that just surprised me was knight h5 check. Now, how does this work? Oh, you can't take the knight. The knight's pinned. So the knight can't take. It's pinned. So the knight can't take. So you have to go king h8. And once queen captures f6. Now it's saying queen e5, queen captures f6 is equal. Let's go with the queen captures f6. Queen captures f6. Knight captures f6. Rook captures a4. c3. c3 is limited to rook. It's limiting the rook. So now this rook, what the rook wants to do, but can't do, is come here and put pressure on the pawn from the backside. c3 stops that. This is a quiet move that's just brutal in the position. c3. And white is up 6.18 here because of c3. Now it's saying rook captures a2. Rook to e8. Ooh. Rook to e8. You change the rooks. How you stopping this pawn? c3 shut you down already. That's like the Chris Paul, CP3, you know, on the basketball. Rook captures e8. Knight captures e8. Rook to a1 check. King to c2. Rook to a5. You're trying to get there. Knight c7. Knight c7. That rook is not getting to that d file. h5. d7. Rook captures f5. Queen. That's buttons. Benjamin, baby. Buttons. It's over. That was a cold combination by Stockfish. I ain't see none of that. But that was a cold combination by Stockfish. All right, let's go back. So h6. And here, I fumbled the ball. I went rook h1, and that just fumbles. That's completely losing. And the reason why, because it allows queen g5, and black can trade off queens. I capture, he captures. And here I go bishop d5. And my idea, I wasn't sure to put the bishop or the knight on d5. So I wanted to go knight d5 and then to e7. But I figured he had captured the bishop, and then when I capture back, one of the rooks will go to the d8, and then I lose my d pawn. So you go rook to d8 right away, which wasn't correct. I captured the bishop, he captured back, and now I go knight c on c to e4. So I'm keeping the d pawn alive. So this way, I keep my pawn alive, and I keep pressure. So as long as I got this d pawn, I have counterplay. I'm down in exchange, but I got counterplay as long as I got this pawn. And here he played rook h8. He's trying to trade off rooks and go into an endgame up material. I'll move my rook. I don't want to trade. And he goes knight h2. I mean knight e3. And his idea is rook h2, picking up the pawn, the g pawn. And I have to be careful that when I swing this rook, I don't get caught in the mating net. But as long as I got this knight on g3, the rook can't drop to h1, so I'm safe on that. So the engine wants f6 here. It just wants f6, king f8. And it's saying I'm good. I hold the position. I'm no longer losing. Because rook h1 was a losing move. But instead, I played rook d3. I wanted to hit at the knight and give my king an avenue to get away. So I just totally gave up the pawn. I should at least capture that pawn. I just totally gave up that pawn. f6 keeps that pawn alive. So I capture, he captures. And I wasn't sure whether to go knight c5 or knight g5. In the end, the engine wants knight c5, but I went with knight g5. And here he goes rook h4. I'm not sure what the idea of rook h4 was. Is he trying to get to maybe c5 and then rook d4 is his idea? So I just dropped the knight back. You're not going to be trading rooks with me anytime soon. Rook h1, I'll move. And now c5. So I go knight to e5. And my idea is to get the knight to c6. He brings his king over. Knight c6. Now he needs to move his rook and protect his a pawn. My knight is very active. He moved the rook up, and I go knight b8. Rook to b7, and now I have the advantage. I'm back in the lead. And it wants knight a6. Knight a6. And what's the idea here? Rook h8, b3, c4, b captures c4, rook to b6, knight c7, rook c6, king c3, rook d8. Nah. King b4? Don't I give up the pawn? No, because you get the fork. You got a fork. So just so you see, here, we go here. Once the king moves, we capture. If you capture back, we capture, and that's an easily winning pawn endgame. So that's supposed to win at knight a6. But I played knight c6. And here I was ready to give up a repetition. Draw by repetition. Marvin is rated almost 140 points higher than me. I think he's like 130 points higher than me. 132 to be exact. And I was ready to accept the draw. I won my first two games. To draw the third game, it would tap me for first place. So that would have been a good result for me. But I don't think Marvin wanted the draw. So he went rook h8. And that is completely losing. I'm now up 4.15. The reason being d7. d7 comes and it comes swiftly. How are you stopping this pawn? You're not. So you're giving the exchange back, and you're going into a losing rook endgame. Rook captures b2. Queen captures, c4. I drop the rook down, hitting at the pawns. Rook captures f7. King to g6. Rook to c7, coming after the c pawn. He moves his rook up in his idea. It's really simple. Check and take the knight. I go king c3, moving out of the way of that trap. He check. I take the pawn. He comes over to get my pawn. And my idea here is I'm going to take the pawn on a7, sacrifice my knight for this f pawn, and set up a Lucena position where my king and pawn pushes in. Really simple. That's my idea. Winning rook endgame. Rook captures a7. Rook captures g2. c3. Let's get the pawn rolling. Ready to set up my Lucena. Rook to g4 check. I go king b5. And once again, I'm going to push this pawn guided by the king. And if he's checking me going a long way, I tuck the king here. Rook comes to the 4th rank and Lucena. So you go f4. And I go knight c6. And I want to threaten knight e5. But I also want to get to d4 so I can pick off this pawn. So he checks me. I bring the king back. Now I decided that I got an extra piece. I can actually, my king is in the square of the pawn. So I can actually pick this pawn off. I drop my rook down. And then my knight comes. And the pawn falls. I just got to do it without losing my own pawn. So rook g3. And I bring the knight to d4. f3. I drop the rook. King g5. Here he's trying to bring his king in. I think he just had to go f2. He had to go f2. And rook goes in front of the pawn, brings the king, and here I did the calculation. I can box him out. So I can give the knight back up here with the rook, and then I got a winning pawn, king pawn endgame. So you have to know your endgames. Rook endgames, king pawn endgames, and you're able to simplify to a winning position. So here I simplify. Rook captures f3. Rook captures f3. Knight captures f3. King captures f3. King d5. King f4. c4. King f5. c5. King f6. King d6. That's the whole thing. This king is not getting over here. What he wants is to get over here and in front of the pawn. So my king just keeps on shouldering him. Opposition. That's what it's called. King f7, king d7, and here Marvin resigned. So I finally broke my losing streak. I lost like 6 tournaments in a row since the World Open in Philadelphia. And here with Chess Zone Generations, I broke the streak. I won first place. And it feels good being back on top. Thank you so much, YouTube. It's Carlos the Rook. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, tell all the chess lovers you know about this, and let's grow this channel. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye.